Warlock's control deck. It's like, well, maybe not quite in general, but what's going on with these hands, Sol, as you shake your head in disappointment?
Tare took roughly 0.62 seconds to mulligan. He got rid of one card, he kept Sonya and Vanish. I was going to say Varnish then. That's not a language. Yeah, obviously Quest early on, and then you can just use Sonya to complete. Vanish is a key card as well if you're going to try and go late against the Warlocks, because you can essentially use Vanish just to two or three turn kill the opponent. You play some charges, you push damage, you vanish their Void Walkers or Void Lords, whatever else. You push damage, they replay more taunts, you vanish again, you kill them.
I do like, if you screenshotted these, okay, forget about the Shrimp Brewer on the right, screenshot the two hands, Warlock toolkit, Rogue toolkit, because there's Doomsayer, but then there's Weapon, Gul'dan, Possessed Lackey, Dark Pact, and a Void Lord for the weapon. It's just so funny to see that basically that is Warlock in Muzzy's hand right now.
The Please Nerf starter pack.
Yes. Yeah, in one screenshot. Look at these two hands. Yeah, they're all the nerfs. Okay, so more life taps from Muzzy here, setting up the Doomsayer to go into a weapon turn, I imagine, especially because now he has Doomguard, which is a big deal. Just get that Doomguard down, start smashing face.
Yeah, you got to start smacking him with Doomguards at some point. You don't have the resiliency and the long-term power of a Control Warlock. Sometimes the Control Warlock can outlast the Quest Rogue. It's rare, but it can happen. More so against kind of weaker Quest Rogue players who don't really know how to partition their threats properly, and also more successful against shallower lists, like Tare's playing, actually. He's playing Wax Elemental instead of Igneous Elemental, for example. Control Warlock with Twisting Nethers and so on can just about get there. Without that, you have to find some way to get pressure, and Skull pulling out Doomguards and so forth is what you're going to want to be doing very, very soon. But Glacial Shard in hand for Tare is going to be able to make a mess of that quite soon as well.
And the 1 million Wax Elementals actually do a good job too. One of the benefits of Wax Elementals is the Divine Shield just alters the Defile math.
Yes.
You need to prot the Divine Shield, then have something else killed, and then you can start hitting the Wax Elementals, right? To be able to kill them off. There's a Giant from Muzzy, so that's another big deal there. The Giant is just going to put on a huge threat in itself. Maybe draw out the Glacial Shard, and if it's not bounced, it means that Doomguard and then the Giant can follow up collectively for a huge push of damage.
Crucially, Tare's list is not running Sap either. Many Quest Rogue lists on ladder, many in this tournament, run a single copy of Sap because of the popularity of Warlock. Quest Rogue is kind of a unique deck in how it interacts between ladder and tournament, because the ladder lists and the tournament lists are often very similar, because you don't bring Quest Rogue to a tournament intending to ban the most popular deck, right? You bring it to a tournament targeting the best deck. So the decks that you play on ladder to run into Warlock are what you use to then target them in a tournament format as well.
I will say right now, the pieces of the puzzle are coming together for Muzzy, because now he has Weapon into Doomguard, into Cube, into Dark Pact. But with this Vanish, Void Lord goes back to hand, which means the Void Lord can be pulled again.
That is quest complete.
Yep.
And that is Sonya in hand, that is Valera in hand, that is Zola in hand, that is Youthful Brew in hand, Elven Minstrel rounding it out.
And Dagger.
If you needed more tools to be able to go long against this wall of potential Void Lords that are going to come down, Tare has them all. So Muzzy can't outlast here. That Void Lord doesn't really matter from this position. Muzzy needs to find some way of making the Doomguard plan happen. And how does he do that against a wall of Wax Elementals that are about to be 5/5s?
It sounds bad, but I'm wondering now as to whether you actually... Oh, he doesn't really have the mana, does he? Like whether you go Lackey into Dark Pact to pull the Void Lord, because you need something to block what you know what the quest is going to be, at least for one turn. I don't know where you go from there, so I've not thought that far ahead. But I'm just currently in the please don't kill me, Mr. Quest Rogue, like moment, if I'm dipping into Muzzy's mind right now.
It's an ugly spot. Because, yeah, like I said, like you can play defensively and go for the second Void Lord, but Tare's hand is so big that as Muzzy, like, are you expecting to be able to outlast? Like, I figure, like, I imagine Muzzy's thought process that entire turn. Do I have any aggressive line of play here? Answer, no, I don't. Okay, I just have to get a Void Lord on board and not die.
Yeah, and I think the idea might be now, hopefully for Muzzy, I believe he'll want the second Void Lord pulled, and this just creates turn and turn and turn of, yeah, Tare's not in trouble, but he's just having to punch down these annoying minions to get to him, and then Gul'dan straight after to go again, and then maybe at that point there's something Muzzy can do to maybe clear the board once and then say go. I think that's the only plan he's got, to be honest.
Yeah, and if that plan works, you'd have to rewind this game and look at Tare using Vanish as a bouncer in this matchup, which is something that does leave you with that danger, because Vanish is your only answer to your only clean one-turn answer to the walls of Void Lords and Void Lords.
Well, locking out the Doom Guard there, so locking out the only minion on the board that can actually kill any of these big guys. So this has to be some form of Doomsayer, do you think? He does have Kobold Librarian and now the Spellstone to kill off one and heal for 5.
Yeah.
There is still 2 taunts up. So there's, you'd have to just on the cuff 15 damage available for Tare to play around with next turn.
And this is the sacrifice that Muzzy had to make on that previous turn. It's why it's so scary to go down the defensive line when you're playing Q-Block. It's because now he doesn't have a Q-packed play available for one of those Doom Guards that would just be insane this turn. If he could make 3 attacks with Doom Guards here, he'd suddenly be in really good shape again.
I wonder whether there was a world where you tap for Pact. Oh, would have got it.
You still got it?
Yeah, yeah.
That's an insane draw.
Double Pact this early.
You saw,
and it even buffed the Spellstone, so it's safer than tapping.
I don't know if you saw Muzzy's facial expressions just tense up towards the end there as he tried to get all of those attacks through right as the rope was burning. But hey, your duplication technique is quite something, Muzzy.
Check this.
You've seen nothing just yet.
He didn't play around Sonya because he left the Doom Guards on the board. What was Muzzy thinking?
What is this card?
Good?
Yes. Yeah, you got it. That's the word I was looking for.
Sometimes you overthink things sort of with your fancy words. Sometimes they're just the good old-fashioned ones get it done. Now the follow-up doesn't have to be deckhand at all. Because the 5 damage to face does nothing this turn?
Right.
In the grand scheme of things.
Does the 5 damage killing a 2-1 ever do anything in terms of board clear potential is the other big question.
I mean, Hellfire sets up a double clearing 2 off if you leave them up.
But doesn't kill Sonya, right? I feel like going to any length you possibly can to protect Sonya.
But yeah, that's what I mean. If you kill them, then trade Hellfire doesn't clear the important parts of your board. Yeah. This has to be Doomsayer, right? Some kind of
I feel like you've been saying that for like 4 turns. Now this is the Doomsayer turn.
Well, I didn't expect him to get Dark Pact off the top, so oh, come on. He needs to buy time to Gul'dan, though. Ooh. This is Godfrey, right?
It doesn't do anything.
No. So it's probably Doomsayer.
You got it!
Yes.
And you see the lack of sap and the usage of the early Vanish is making Tare's life very, very difficult here. Of course, it's not that simple. He would not be in this position with this many 5/5s and this much damage being able to be pushed if he didn't use that Vanish to set up his bouncers, because I believe he bounced 2 Wax Elementals with it at the same time. So if he didn't use that, he would be much, much slower on his quest completion. There's every chance Muzzy could have got that aggressive line going with the Doom Guards and then cubed and been pushing himself. Yeah. You can see how important it is to have those tools available to you in the later stages of the matchup.
Tare can kill this Void Lord. And can you take all of the Void Walkers. Yeah, he can't actually take the Doomsday, right? So he just has 2 bounces, so he can't do enough to actually kill the Doomsday.
No, he's just popping open the Void Lord so the Void Walkers don't remain. I suspect it's for Lyra time.
He needs something because he has to be expecting Gul'dan next turn. You have to have a plan for Gul'dan.
Yeah. If Tari could just keep waiting this out until he finds that second Vanish, though, he can be in business. But there are still 11 cards left, and he doesn't have cards that draw Vanish. He has Elven Minstrels that draw minions and thin his deck, but apart from the Novice Engineers, he doesn't just have natural card draw.
He has cards that help to draw Vanish.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it thins the rest of the deck.
Right.
Here's Gul'dan. Muzzy did just consider, just for a minute, to make sure he knows where he's at right here. 2? Wait.
Stealth.
Oh. I just looked down there. There's the Vanish. Go away. Is effectively what Vanish is saying right now. And so does this? How does this
Vanish
work?
does
this give him
not
Doomguard?
clear the board. It gives him. It goes left to right, so he'll get 3
so it
Void
gives him
Walkers
Doomguard.
now spawning onto the board because one of the Void Lords died, which is a little bit annoying for Tare. He would have liked to push some damage there potentially. But he can redevelop the board, but now Muzzy just has Skull equipped and a handful of big old demons. Like he's kind of fine with that. He's not dying anytime soon.
Also, to a certain extent, Muzzy would probably be okay just playing Doomguards from his hand at this point. Like he needs to make something work. Oof.
That's
Swing and a miss.
not what you're looking for here.
Giant, okay. Giant Doomguard hero power.
There's no saps left. Both Vanishes are gone. Can we not just go endless wall of Void Lords?
Oh, you want to set up for also potential Godfrey? Soften them up for Lord Godfrey himself.
Yeah, why not?
The dual-wield pistol master.
Right, like if you get the Void Walker and the Void Lord out of your hand, then the Doomguards are coming out for you next turn anyway.
Sure.
Muzzy agrees with you though. Raven.
I mean, he's a
player
clever guy.
confirmed. Yeah.
He's a clever guy, like I said.
Yeah.
And before he just plays like Plated Beetle.
I think Shrinker is dead.
Yeah, it's pretty much agreed with me. Same idea.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't like just playing the Doomguards from hand. I don't think you're in like a great rush anymore. I think you've kind of turned the corner where you can rely on a bit of attrition. And
Yeah, I'm probably overestimating the charges.
Right, like I said, like the Doomguards are just coming out anyway. You know, like if they come out from, if you pull a Void Lord next turn, fine. Otherwise, you're getting one of those Doomguards anyway. I think just getting this amount of damage on board is just fine in this scenario.
So, because I've said a few smart things today,
Go on,
I'm going to go for something stupid.
go on.
Is there a world in which you don't attack minions this turn?
What?
Well, you know he's going to pull a Void Lord or a Doomguard.
Okay.
If you fill the board and pass, then he isn't getting the power plays.
Okay.
Then you have 7 5/5s and Shadow Step next turn, and multiple Shadow Steps if the Valera power goes.
Okay.
And then maybe something happens where you win.
But if you don't take any of this damage off the board, he just hits you.
That's all right. Look, I was hitting my stupid quota for the day, okay?
All right, fair
Get it
enough.
out early.
He knows there's 2 Doomguards in hand, so he has to remove damage from play, right? Yeah. Now he's just dead.
Because the Void Walkers can trade off, yeah? I'll provide some in-house commentary as TJ was over on the other side, waving arms and counting numbers and things. I was like, he's dead. So the trade-off will be enough. I think it was 20 with just the board and the hero power. But then obviously you could just trade a Void Walker off, play a Doomguard, and
Yeah, it's just a really strange play, because he knows the Doomguards are in hand, so if he doesn't take damage off the board, then he just plays 1 Doomguard from hand and hero powers him. There's no discard RNG on the second Doomguard, because he doesn't need the second Doomguard.
you've got the hero power, and Muzzy takes it.
What's really weird to me is that you suggested that play, and then Tare actually did it, and it was that weird.
Yeah, it was a little bit nutty actually. I thought I was joking, to be completely honest. I was
Bizarre
I was
ending to that
providing
game.
just like something to consider of blocking demons from a weapon was the key point.
Right.
But it was not the end game play.